So, calling back to order the regular council meeting of Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. I know, item number 3, adoption of minutes. The 3.1 recommendation that council adopt the minutes from the regular council meeting held on November 2nd, 2022. Can I get a seconder? Councilor Wall, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Okay. Agenda item number 4, introduction of late items, none. Public hearings, none. Delegations, none. Item number 7, unfinished business and a business arising from the minutes, none. Item 8, new business, recommendation 8.1.
That council adopts the 2023 schedule of council meetings and portfolios as presented, and that council cancels, there we go, the January 4th, 2023 meeting.
I get a seconder? Councilor Rabble, all those in favor?
Discussion.
Oh yeah, discussion, thank you. Yes, Councilor Rabble?
Purely technical question, why have January 4th on the council schedule when we're just going to cancel it anyway? Because we have to have 2?
Ms. Stokes?
The community charter requirement and our council procedure bylaw states that we have to have 2 meetings a month except in the month of July and August. In answer to your question, I don't know. But since in the last 7 years, what we do is we do the schedule, and if it falls right after the holiday, it doesn't make any sense to have a council meeting because there's nothing to put on the council meeting yet. So that we're within the community charter, we're following everything, we're posting our schedule, but we're also doing our...
Could we get in trouble for canceling it though, because it's not a meeting?
No. Because what we do is council makes a motion to cancel the meeting. Before we leave for Christmas, we put a notice up. We do the community charter requirements in posting that the meeting is canceled. That's all we have to do, is post a notice.
Councilor Rebel?
Is there the need for 2 meetings in January potentially? Or is 1 sufficient for council's duties?
Are you putting the motion on the floor? We make that change? No,
It's a council procedure bylaw change.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, instead of the 4th, do we require a second meeting? Or is it okay just to have, just for the business of council, do we require 2 meetings in January, or will 1 be sufficient for the operation of council?
We never know until January hits.
Okay.
So last year we canceled the January 3rd meeting, but we had to have a special meeting on January 6th.
Councilor Wall?
Can I make a recommendation or proposal that we change our council procedure bylaw to allow 1 meeting in January, or to allow, if we are required to have 2 meetings, to have it the 2nd and 3rd week instead of just the...
No, you can't change that.
Councilor
That answers
Rebel?
my question. I was just going
You're
to ask
gonna
how much
have-
extra work is that going to create
Well-
for you guys for 1 meeting a year?
Ms. Stokes?
So it requires us to rewrite the council procedure bylaw.
Yeah. So it's a
Okay.
bylaw rewrite.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not an easy process.
For now, there may be a time down the road where this meeting is needed.
Well, we can always have extra meetings, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but we can continue this way as well. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It doesn't really.
Why don't we vote? Let's put it to a vote. So,
What are we voting on?
Well,
Because right
well,
now, we have a
we're
motion on the
accepting-
table.
we're accepting the motion that's on the table, that we accept the schedule for the council meetings and the portfolios as presented, and that cancel, that is difficult, the January 4th, 2023 meeting. All those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Thank you.
Can I just
Alright.
say one thing?
Yeah.
If council wishes to revisit this and would like the bylaw changed, may I suggest you bring this up in the new year?
Okay.
Okay? We'll revisit it then. I'm gonna do the sound noises right now.
Now you're all addicted. All right.
And there's no questions about the portfolios? Everybody's okay with all the portfolios?
All right. Recommendation 8.2. Anybody?
Sure. that council approves administration applying for the Canadian Heritage Grant for the Canada Day celebrations to be held on July 1st, 2023.
Second, Councilor Little. Okay, discussion? Councilor Rattle?
Is it limited to $2,000 or can we go for more, or that's just conventionally what we get?
That's conventionally usually what we get, a little less.
Oh,
We usually apply in the range of, I think this year we applied for $15,000 or so, but they only give us a portion, very small portion.
okay.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried. All right, 8.3, item recommendation.
Recommend that council receive the report for information and or adopt the 2023-2027 fire department operating budget as presented.
Okay, seconder? Councilor Wall, move to discussion. Any questions? I feel like I have questions.
Just remember, one at a time.
Yes. Our fire chief is with us this evening. Thank you so much, chief, for waiting so patiently. We've had a very busy beginning to our meeting. I'm just heading to that page right now. Sorry about that.
I have a question.
Well, good. Councilor Wall, you can start off.
I have a question for Sandy for Blair, I guess. Is that how that works?
No, through the chair.
Oh, yeah.
And the fire chief, we don't use names in council meetings.
Oh, my apologies. So I have a question regarding the, for the honorariums. I like the idea of the additional $30,000. And then in here, it talks about a certain dollar value
Hold on.
per event.
Which one are you talking about?
Yes,
There's
there's
two.
two.
You're jumping ahead. We've got 3 reports, okay? We've got 3 different things on the agenda, so we can't have
On
you
the-
jumping. This is
On the
just-
budget.
Yes, there's 2 budgets. Which one are you on?
I'm on page 22.
No, you're too far.
Oh, where
We're
am I
talking
supposed-
about the one in front of that. That one right
Yeah,
there.
he's talking about page 22.
Yeah, we're on page 22.
He's talking about. Okay. Sorry, didn't hear.
So, line 1 of page 22.
Right? And we have the
Where-
39,000?
Yes,
Okay.
that is the point as, the
No.
point system as shown, no?
No.
Nope,
That's
that's
the
different.
next report.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is that the one?
Okay,
You're-
so do we want to
If
explain?
there's more discussion, maybe I'll get it.
Okay, Chief, I was wanting to ask about, hang on, I'm gonna find the word for it. Your training and, why can't I not find this now? I'm telling you.
For the firefighters?
Training and, conferences, yes, I can't seem to find it now. Oh, that's going, so the firefighter training is going from 35,700 up to 45,700. Is that training and conferences, or is that just the training?
That would be training, so if we sent people away as well, and there is a, I don't want to say proposal, but there's been a study done hoping to receive a report by the end of this December to the PRD that would maybe help us, just because the training grants in Dawson Creek belong to Dawson and PRD's looking to take it over. So it might help us if we knew our training here versus sending people away. But for now, we don't know that.
Okay, and so you're looking to budget in case you are sending people away?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, what's been your actuals for your training? I know that's a hard question because you don't have them. Like, how much on average have you been spending on training for the past, few years?
Since 2021.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That's hard to answer because
I
of
know.
COVID. So
I
we
know.
haven't been training, we haven't been sending people away,
Oh,
but
right.
typically it's about 3 members per year at an average of 3,000. That's just for the big live fire.
Yeah, so it depends where we can get them. Like sometimes I can send them to Grand Prairie, which costs a little cheaper. This year I had to send one to Victoria, and I can't remember where the other one was.
Okay.
Which, if the PRD goes through and does that, we're hoping that we're gonna be able to do all that right here locally.
Okay. Counselor Whittle?
Just a quick question, it comes back to that training that Mayor Beach is talking about. With that training, I know the new requirements are coming up with the new playbook, so that's gonna put some added pressure on your administrative team and stuff and on your firefighters. So is that increase in the training budget to help accommodate for the additional training and workshopping that's gonna be required to implement the new standards?
It will some, but not very much.
So do you need additional money to cover that?
No, I think we'll be fine, the way we're going, at least for this year to try it. With a couple of the other proposals that are coming up as well, so I'd like to try it that way.
Okay, and then once again, Chief, does this training cost, this cover some of those conferences? I know that you went to a conference this year with Ms. Stokes, and so is that coming out of that money as well, or is that a separate line item? I have one nodding and one not nodding.
Yeah, it does come out of there, and that's what, it's been a,
I always been a believer that it should be separated per se.
Okay,
Anything that I do that's fire related comes out of the fire training budget. So if I go to a Chiefs conference,
Yeah.
it comes out of that budget as well.
okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So when you see, sorry,
No?
like when you see like a budget of, let's say, 25,000 for training, let's say for an example, it's not full 25,000 training, that's a conference and that stuff in there as well.
travel as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, I'm just wondering if, yeah, like maybe there should be, maybe you should say training and conferences, so we're kind of understanding that it is covering not just that, but also travel expenses when you're going to chief conferences and that kind of stuff too.
I can change it.
Yeah, sorry. just 'cause that is another big, big part, especially as we are coming to the tail end of all the COVID stuff and traveling is happening again. Councillor Wall.
On line 1, the honorariums, the increase of $30,000, is that the same increase as 0.3 on page 24?
So, actually, no, because
No.
no, it's right.
It's part of the budget, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the same one?
Yes.
Okay,
Has your question been answered?
I just wanted to make sure it's the same money.
No worries, I just want to ask before moving on to Councillor.
Okay, so,
Oh, backing up. Yes, Ms. McNair?
can you repeat the question?
Is the, on line 1, regarding the honorariums, the increase of $30,000, is that the same $30,000 as shown on 0.3 of page 24?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Rattle?
Just out of curiosity, so we're talking about the draft 23 to 27 budget. Are we purely discussing honorariums, fire alarm system, and training firefighters? Because to bring up a technicality for fire admin wages going down by $4,000.
So, can I answer that?
Oh, yes, Ms. McNair?
The reason why it went down is because last year was budgeted for an admin, which I took that out because we weren't sure what was happening when I created this report that had to be sent to the PRRD at the time. The next report on the agenda will address that.
Councillor Rattle?
So we are purely concerned with the 3 lines in this, for this table, for honorariums, fire alarm systems, and training of firefighters.
Those are the big differences this year. For
Okay.
this.
And the benefits, yeah. Yes, thank you.
Would I be able to get context on the new fire alarm system?
What was that?
You don't have it yet.
Context, what's going on essentially, just curious.
Upgrading.
The upgrade, so it's new equipment that's costing this money.
So this will be a one-time for the upgrade, and then but the cost associated with the monitoring is a little bit higher. But next year it should go down because we won't have to purchase the hardware. It'll just be the monitoring.
But it doesn't go down.
Yeah, I see that. Draft.
Okay.
It will.
Okay, Okay, so just so I'm correct, Ms. McNair, so the line item for fire alarm system, which is showing 1,500 for this year, will not be 1,530 for 2024, will actually begin to go back down. So that number will be being changed?
Correct.
Correct. Okay,
'Cause
thank you.
That's including hardware for this year.
Please note that that line item will be lower for next year. Councillor Whittle.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the chief. Fire prevention. I see there's $2,081 allocated to that. Is that in order to get boots on the ground doing like on fire inspections within the village, or is that for like educational purposes or
Be a combination.
combination?
We are mandated to do fire inspections, and just because of time and everything else, a lot of the smaller halls, I have not done them, who knows? I've done maybe 3 this year, and it was because of request. Maybe another small business going into another one. But yeah, that would be a part of that as well.
Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Wall?
Last question of mine, if you want. On line 3, benefits, fire department, currently 17,583, going to 30,889. What's with the, that's a quite substantial increase.
Calculated last year.
Oh, is that what happened?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ms. McNair, is that due to us moving the chief line? So moving from, so really the wage was allocated from one area of public works into the fire department. So it was still the overall budget, it was just moving that amount from one line item to another. So that's what the change was, that money was actually being taken out of public works into the fire department.
So it was just under the wrong,
Yeah.
Wrong allocation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Councillor Rabble?
Just regarding the motion itself, for 8.3, it's got this and or in there. Can I get some clarification about refining that motion so that it has greater specificity?
Explain.
So it says that council received the report for information and or adopt the operating budget as presented. However, there appears to be discrepancies with the various line items, and that are we taking this as information? Are we taking this in the draft form? Or are we accepting it as is?
No, so this item, we would then receive it and then adopt it with the changes being made. This is just a draft at this point. And so we've noted changes, as I've seen. Yes, Ms. McNair?
When this report was written, the next one following was not ready or talked about yet, so can I take to information?
Okay, so this is being changed
Because you
to,
may want to make changes with the next report.
okay, Councillor Will?
Point of order, we can't receive it for information only if we discuss it. The item's got to be tabled until the next meeting. Changes to it.
Okay, so motions to table item 8.3 to the next meeting.
Why would you table it? You can receive it for information.
If you discuss it, you can't receive it for information, you gotta receive it for discussion. Or the point of order.
That's in the regional district.
Is this a technicality?
It's a technicality, if somebody's not.
Just for clarification, right, because if you guys need time to revamp it to bring it back to us for approval, then it allows you to do that, but if it's for information only, then it's information, it's not for discussion.
Do we have time to do that, though? I know that this is sort of of great importance. Ms. Stokes?
So, the draft of this has already gone to the Peace River Regional District. They had to have it by November 1st. Before you guys were even sworn in, we had to have it too. Okay, but it is a draft. We have time to make changes. We can table this till the next meeting if you wish, and it can come back with the corrections, and you can then decide if you want to adopt it or at the next council meeting. We do have time.
There is time?
Yeah. We
Okay.
have till the end of, till
Till
December.
January.
January.
Okay.
January that we have to have it to.
Oh, January 10th.
Yes.
January 10th, we have till so we have 2 more meetings that we can bring it back.
Okay,
So we
perfect.
would like to make the motion to just
No.
table it till.
Motion on the floor.
Yeah.
There's already a motion, I've already seconded it.
Yeah, so are you gonna be changing that?
You can amend your motion.
You can amend your current motion.
No, you presented it, I've seconded it, and it's just to not accept his information, but to table it until the next meeting so that the appropriate corrections can be made. Right?
Sure, yeah, so we will, repeat what you said, sorry.
Table to next
Yes,
meeting and bring
we're
back
just
with
gonna table and bring it back with the
corrections.
corrections. Seconder, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Oh, my goodness gracious, sorry. All right, 8.4 recommendation.
Recommend that council receive the report on the PRD fire truck for information and or discussion.
Seconder,
Second.
Councilor Woodall, thank you.
Discussion?
Yes. Councilor Rebel.
So, question, it appears that the primary use of the truck will be purely for public works and not for fire service. Is this truck houred out for fire service? Or could it potentially be used for fire service?
Chief?
It wouldn't be used as a pumper. It could be used as a tanker to haul water if we really needed it. But it wouldn't be registered as a emergency vehicle. But it is there as a backup just to haul water if we needed it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Oh, Councilor Woodall?
So, just for clarification, Chief, this is for, you're looking at doing like a hot seat unit type thing and turning into like a steamer for this truck, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Sort of like what we were looking at with the previous truck before you.
Yeah, for the newer members that weren't aware, this past spring, we ended up going to Grand Prairie, rented a steamer, because I couldn't find nothing else here as a second steamer, because of the issues we're having. This would increase, because our tank, I think it's a 500-gallon tank, I think on our small portable, which is 2004 or 5 or something like that, the old one. It's quite old. So we make, usually during the day, we'll run back to the shop 6-7 times just to fill water. So with this, we should be able to go almost all day. So our production time will increase versus downtime running back and forth.
Okay. Councilor Wall?
Is there any definite information on the cost of this fire truck? It's what, $1, I believe. So,
I haven't heard, there's nothing in writing yet, but that's what I've been told, $1.
oh,
Councilor Rebel?
And there will be, of course, various costs associated with upgrading it and making it fit for purposes that you intend for public works and potential fire usage in emergency situations.
Minimal cost. The truck was just inspected at Peterbilt. To change the amber lights, and I'm just taking a guess, from red to amber. We had budgeted $25,000, I think, for the steamer last year, for like this year, or 2022. We purchased the steamer, we already have it, so we're still be under our budget as right now, even with doing the conversion. It does have a 1050 gallons per minute pump. As a fire truck, it has to be certified. We don't need a certified, but the pump goes. We haul it out, we throw our 4-inch pump in there if we need it to wash buildings or flush culverts. So no cost besides labor taking the pump out.
Okay. Councilor Rebel?
So the steamer upgrade will come from the steamer budget line then?
Yeah, we've already purchased it.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking we budgeted, I think 25, and I think the steamer cost was around 15-ish, somewhere in there, 15, 16,000. So we still have 9-ish to play with to do the upgrades.
So put it on the side and then we've got a bunch of water now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Any more questions? Moving to a vote. All those in favor? Oh, all those in favor of recommendation 8.4, that council receives the report on the Peace River Regional District Fire Truck for information and or discussion. All those in favor? Unanimous and carried.
Who seconded it?
Councilor, what else I seconded it?
Sure you did. I did now.
But then just for clarification, what's the steps moving forward? It's now, we've accepted it as information discussion, but then what's the action we're giving to administration to proceed with such action?
Ms. Stokes?
Does council wish for us to find out how much they're willing to sell it to us for? Okay, who wants to make the motion?
I'll make a
Oh, hang on,
motion.
Chief has got his hand raised.
We can find out for tomorrow, but the paperwork's ready to go, so I'm gonna say it's $1.
You sure?
So, Councillor Woodall.
We'll find out, but if you want to set a number.
Forward.
So I'll make the recommendation that staff move forward with the purchasing within policy of the new truck.
I'll second.
For what amount?
Councillor Johnson.
It's pretty good amount discussed.
Of the dollar.
Yeah, within the budget, yeah, as long as it's within the budget.
All those in favor of moving forward with the purchase of the Kingston Regional District Fire Truck for the amount of $1?
Yes.
Carried, unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Item 8.5 recommendation.
That council receives a report from the fire chief regarding paid on-call system for discussion.
Seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor Woodall has seconded that. I started announcing these very loudly. Okay, discussion. Chief, do you want to talk a little bit on this? Hang on, I'm getting there.
So, right now, the volunteers our association receives $200 per member that goes to association. They take that money and they'll subsidize whether we buy like some, maybe split cost between us and the association for Christmas gifts. However, the other portion that they collect, they also help purchase small equipment. So when we say we purchase something personal, a lot of times it's personal, but it still belongs to the hall. Sometimes it's just a small tool or something like that. There was a inquiry that went out from different halls this summer to retention and that kind of stuff. A lot of our halls are having the same issues, and they're trying to find ways to, some are trying to increase their budget to pay it on call versus just trying to bring some traction back into the fire department. Everywhere is just dwelling on numbers. I would like for proposal number 4, and I just threw the number out. So in total, like the 30,000 and breaking it down by points and all this stuff. This is just an example. If I went by like some of the other halls, they go by pay it on call by hours. I can't control that. So we budget, based on 50 calls, and all of a sudden we get 200 calls. I just blew that budget sky high. With this proposal, if we set a budget at whatever, I just threw a number 30,000. That's my budget. I can't go over, I can't go under. All that makes a difference is the points are worth $5 or $2 or $10, depending on how many calls we have, how many members show up.
Councillor Woodall?
So, Chief, what's the average cost of training one of your firefighters from the time they walk in the door to the time that they're actually, fully trained and certified on the field grounds or on the fire grounds?
I never figured it out, but you're probably, well, with the new Viera that we're using, it's a little quicker depending on what they want to do, but you're probably in the neighborhood of the $8,000 to $9,000, I would think. If we gotta send them away and do the exams and all that stuff in our time to train.
So with your current proposal, number 4 here, if we were to even to retain, 5 firefighters, it's essentially paid for itself. Again, not to mention the increased safety, and I know myself do the other stuff. I mean, trying to recruit volunteers right now, retain volunteers is an uphill battle, and when you get good people hanging on to them, so yeah, no, I definitely think that's a great idea. Thanks, Chief.
Councillor Wall?
I just want to clarify that the difference between proposal 3 and proposal 4 is that proposal 3, each point is worth a set dollar amount, and proposal 4, we have a set dollar amount, and each point could vary in value depending on how many calls or trainings occurred. Is that correct?
So the calls wouldn't change. So what we've done is we took from number 3, we went with the 9,000 we have in place now to add another 30. Number 4, we went to add to the 25 and another 5,000 for weekend duty officers. So we'll bring it back up to 30.
So on 3, there's a possibility of going over that 30,000 budget?
Nope.
No? Okay. But I'm just reading, where was that? Each point is equal to $5.77. Or it appears points may vary in value depending on how busy the year is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the end of the year, whatever we set, 30,000 or whatever, that's it. I'll be at that number every single time.
And we can't go over, we can't go under.
No.
I like that.
And your recommendation, chief, is item 3, the paid by the point system.
Item 4, wasn't it?
Item 4 is your recommendation.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Item 4.
It's basically almost the same numbers, just a different breakdown.
Okay. Councillor Rattle?
First.
Oh, Councillor Whittle?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to the CAO. With the proposal that the chief's recommending, number 4, how does that impact staffing and budget for liability? Now we're giving compensation to the firefighters. Does that affect our liability at all, or affect?
I'm gonna redirect your question to the interim CFO.
It will impact us. Small amount.
Well, and what about administrative time on that as well?
Well, I think that's in the next report.
We haven't got to that yet. We're on this one.
The duty officers?
Yeah, I was just seeing that.
Okay, okay, because
Councillor Rebel?
Well, that's my question is, for number 4, it mentions this duty officer for $5,000, but then the next report presents an administrative person that essentially is performing the same duties. So I'm just wondering about clarification on that.
Am I correct in seeing the only difference between item 3 and 4 is the paid duty officer? Is that the only difference? Am I correct in my understanding of that?
The numbers, the number 3 points are worth a set dollar amount.
Okay.
Now I'm really confused because
Correct me if I'm wrong when we were talking about this, Trina. So, number 4, that would include, no, because we were hiring.
my understanding was it was increasing the honorarium by $30,000 for paid on-call. And then the next report was increasing by $35,000 in order to replace an admin assistant.
Yeah, we might have jumped the gun and went from one to having one done and then adding the other one afterwards and not changing this.
Okay. Oh.
Ms. Stokes?
may I make a motion?
Yeah. Sure.
As the CAO, I'm going to make a motion that we table the next 2 reports and bring them back on the 6th,
I'll second that.
after we've had a chance to revisit this.
Okay, Councillor Rabble?
So purely, I just want to speak to the worthiness of a points-based system with the budget of $30,000 so that paid on-call people are compensated based through a point system. I understand that. That makes sense. That would retain volunteers. That's, I believe, what the essence of that report was attempting to get at. But yeah, I think clarification purely, because it sounds like number 3.
Well, yeah.
Seems like number 3 as well.
Table 8.5 and 8.6 until December 6th, please, with more
I'll
clarification
make
to
a
be brought back.
recommendation. Did we table 8.5
Okay.
and 8.6?
All those in favor of tabling 8.5 and 8.6?
Oh, in favor.
Hang on, all those in favor? Thank you. Unanimous and carried, and that was seconded by Councillor Johnson.
We'll try to get this sorted out.
I think more of a note on the notes needs to be that everybody is unbelievably ill. You're all unbelievably sick. I feel like I'm the only healthy person here at this point in time, and I'm doomed. Oh, he sneezed earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, you guys, I don't know what to do with the
Between two, see?
Councilor Rattle.
I would simply, for 8.6, for the administrative person, I've noticed the cost of water use for the fire hall is static at $14,000 throughout the many years that are to come. What was the budgeting considerations for that? Why is it a static amount? Because our cost of water, if they're paying village
Yeah.
rates, will increase. Therefore, are we expecting the fire hall to use less water?
Yeah, so we've already voted on that, so we can talk about that when we
I
bring it
just
back.
want to bring it up.
So yeah, just make a note of that to bring it up on the December 6th meeting. We have to bring it back then, because we've already voted on that.
Yeah, no, just,
That,
and I guess it's just that as direction of staff kind of thing. I guess that's what I'm presenting. But then that have to be a motion.
so. Alrighty, so we're gonna move on to item 9, correspondence. Does anybody see anything they'd like to talk on?
I noticed. if I can find the
Councilor
page.
Wall?
I noticed somewhere in here, there was a full day of just maintenance, October 30th. Just something to note. Out of curiosity, if we could in these reports ask for if fines were given out?
If you go to the next report, he's added a line as to whether or not tickets were given out. He will not break it down into individuals, because that's,
Privacy.
Yeah. So he'll give a total at the bottom of the report going forward, if there was a ticket given out or not. Alright.
Any other questions in regards to the animal control bylaw?
No, no.
No? Okay, moving on from that one. Any other questions on correspondence? Councilor Ravel?
For 9.2, I'd like to commend the fire department for their service and the calls that they've responded to. And then a second piece, for 9.3, I see that there's the crime trend reporting. So what is the procedure? I've noticed that RCMP members do come to present in person occasionally, but is this just purely for the month of October 2022? And is only an annual report given by an RCMP member present, or is it just submitted purely on paper for the monthly reports and the annual is in person, or how does that function?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You can't tell these stuff.
Okay.
Ms. Stokes?
So, the previous staff sergeant, Werrell, has departed, and we have a new staff sergeant that is taking over, Staff Sergeant Jamie.
Yes.
I can't remember her last name. Okay, there we go. So we are in the process of arranging for her to come as a delegation. So what happens typically is the monthly reports come out just like this. They'll come out on the agenda. And once a year, sometimes twice a year, the Dawson Creek RCMP will come out as a delegation to go over the report and the stats, like you said, of the yearly report.
Sorry about that, Ms. Stokes. Actually, while we are talking about the RCMP, I had also wanted to talk about the RCMP office we currently have in the fire department. Right now, the office has not really been used much in the past 2 years since the office was put in there. Our fire chief, that used to be his office, and he was actually removed out of that office and put upstairs in a spare closet that they had. That office, since he's been put into the spare closet, has remained basically empty other than the equipment provided by the RCMP. I would like to see our chief return to his main office that is currently sitting empty other than 3 computers and 2 keyboards. Yes, Councilor Wall.
Could I table a motion to switch the offices? Like flip them?
You'd like to put a motion forward?
Yeah, put a motion forward to allow the fire
No,
to go back and then the police go in the closet, no?
police can't go upstairs, they have to be down on the ground level.
Ms. Stokes?
When they went to do this office, they had to send all their people out to make sure it met specs and everything, and this was the office that they picked. moving them up into the fire department would mean that they would have to go through the fire department's stuff on it.
Oh, okay, so it's not.
So the whole point to having the office right there was that they just had to go in that one door, because they don't have access to the rest of the fire department. They just they go in the first door, and then their door is right there, and then there's another door that goes to the rest of the fire department that's locked at all times.
Councillor Rebel?
In regards to your comments about this, what provisions are required? Like, they've got a contract for service, I assume, right? And so in that contract, there must be stipulations as to the administrative space that they require. What are those stipulations, and can they be altered? Are they a minimum requirement? Are we meeting a minimum requirement, or can it be reduced for the RCMP for their administrative spaces within our fire department?
Sandy, can I put a direction on the floor to direct staff to bring some information back in regards to our RCMP agreement and the understanding of the RCMP office? See if we can get our fire chief back in there, please. Maybe creating a shared space.
Hang on, don't make any more motions. I need staff to bring back more info. And contract. Is there a seconder on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried. Councillor Wall, did you have a question?
I did have a question. I was just curious if there are any other spaces in village-owned properties where we could put the police.
Maybe that's something that we could,
Add to the report.
once we read the contract, I think we'll get a bit of a better idea of what we're looking at.
So you put them in here? Where? Well, that's my office.
I thought that was your office.
It's both my office.
Oh my goodness.
Remember, intern.
Okay, yeah. So we'll bring that back and we'll spend some time looking into it there, Chief. Councillor Rebel?
Well, we're back to correspondence for 9.3. I'm quite intrigued about theft of vehicle, theft from vehicle, and break and enter in a business. Break and enter has gone up quite significantly. 145 calls versus 61 calls. So I just wish that there was a member from the RCMP to speak on their behalf present. But it's quite interesting to see those numbers go up so high, whereas decreases are so low in
So they
comparison.
had all those meetings in town and
For the crime meeting.
there's a few.
Would you like to direct to maybe have a delegation come out?
We're working on it.
Yes.
Direct?
I already told you, we're working on it.
All right, so it looks like staff is already
It's in the
looking
works.
at having
Yeah.
a delegation come out and talk to us, so.
Okay.
All right, any other questions on correspondence items? Oh, yes, Councilor Rebel?
I ask a lot of questions, I get it.
That used to be me.
Fair enough. So, just curious about 9.4, that a local resident has inquired to us to proceed to look into essentially a policy for electrification of homes and buildings within our municipality. I'm just wondering about the implications and how such a thing would be enforced. I understand we're simply accepting it as information, but I'm curious as to how a municipality would proceed with such a matter of electrification in buildings located within the municipality.
Beyond my pay grade, I couldn't tell you. It is definitely something to receive as information and look into. Councillor Wall?
I believe what we would have to do to enforce something like that would be to pass a bylaw to make all new structures being built not have gas connections. So there'd have to be some sort of bylaw.
We live in the north.
I'm sorry, yeah.
It works in Vancouver.
I think that's what we'd have to do, but we're just receiving the letters and information.
Kids remind us.
Okay.
Maybe 20 years from now, by the way.
So,
Yes, Councillor Rebel, point of order.
are we simply accepting it as information and then potentially reviewing such a scenario in the future for policy?
Very big undertaking.
Yes, so
strictly information.
Yes, I understand the sentiment of what this person is inquiring to. So I understand it purely as information.
At this point.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, all right. Any other questions regarding correspondence? All right, moving on then. Item 10, resolutions, none. Item 11, bylaws, none. Item 12, administration reports. 12.1, CAO report. CAO is fading by the moment.
I actually wrote a report and I forgot to print it off.
We'll just go for that.
Everyone okay if I just forward them my report via email?
It's fine.
I'll accept.
Thank you.
So,
All right. Well,
do we have to nominate somebody?
for the
No, you don't.
NCGL.
It's for information.
Ah, cool.
Item 12, so 12.2, action items. We're gonna look at our action items list. Maybe you're also sick from how hard you've been working on this action item list. Does anybody see anything that they would like to talk on? Ms. Scouts?
I just want to let Councillor Woodall know that I did reach out to the seniors aging in place, and the response I got back was, the mayor needs to talk to Director Hebert and Dan Rose.
So I'll make a motion that Mayor Beach reaches out to the chair and the vice chair of the Peace River Regional District.
Sure he does.
Mayor Beach is a crystal ball and already did that.
So I don't have to second the motion?
It's almost like somebody had a conversation.
Maybe. And the no-through side is here, so we will give it to Public Works to be put up.
Thank goodness.
I told Skylar tonight that it was wrong color, we wouldn't see it in the snow.
Wrong color,
Writing on it.
Okay, nothing else on action items? Moving on to capital and special projects. Ms. Scouts?
So as you can see, we're almost there. The lagoon project is complete for the season. They did everything except removing the cattails, which they can't do right now. The cost came in way too high. The safety coating for the fire hall floor, we're still waiting on one product to arrive. So I'm not sure that it's gonna get done this year. Three-phase power, did he ever come?
He was supposed to come last Thursday, I texted him yesterday, and he's planning this Thursday to come.
Okay, so that should be done. So as you can, and our emergency response plan is underway. So yeah, so by the time Christmas gets here, we should have 99% of it complete. And I'm happy with that.
Me too. That was a very large list.
I just have one question.
Councillor Wong?
Thank you. Feasibility study on drainage says it's complete and there will be a special meeting held on 7/14.
Yeah. It's complete, and there's a special meeting on December 13th.
Oh, okay.
Urban systems.
See?
Like, how's it complete if we're having a meeting?
Special meeting with Urban Systems. It's complete.
Wonderful. Any other questions on capital projects? None? Perfect. Moving on to item 12.4, council calendars. Is there anything anybody sees for the last little bit of November and December? Yes, Councillor Rebel.
When will council pictures and orientation be moved to?
When
As
I
they
get
did
back.
before. Okay.
Can we pick a date when I'm back, please?
We'll pick a date after the 28th.
Probably after the 2nd of December.
Probably after the 2nd of December.
Because
Yes.
the 1st and 2nd, people are away. So I was thinking maybe the 5th, 6th, or 8th of December. But we will,
You'll note the date of
I
the.
was just looking at that.
Could I recommend we do photos on the 7th prior to Argo?
yes, you can ask, and I can ask. I will consult with the photographer.
Could we not do them on the same day as, it's a lot. doing the orientation and the council meeting.
No, he's saying photos on the 7th.
Okay, just pictures on it, okay.
An orientation another day, I guess.
Yeah,
The orientation.
18-hour day.
almost.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody see anything else? Miss Stokes, I will be out of town from November 30th to December 3rd. If that date changes, I will let you know, but I will be unavailable.
Okay.
I'll be on the island in Vancouver during those times. Councillors Johnson and Wall, don't forget about the house light judging contest.
December 10th.
I know, you're both very excited, that's wonderful.
Oh, and you know that you just write, okay, so they have to have a
Visible address.
visible, but it has to be there. You can't just say, I know who that person is and they should win. If they don't have a 911 address, they don't qualify. That's their only qualifier in town.
They just have to have numbers on their house.
Yes.
Hmm.
And what they're reading back is the numbers to give me first, second, third.
Chief, I see where the confusion was. The staff Christmas party's on the 12th. That's where we all get down and boogie. If the date's all wrong.
There was no confusion, I was right.
I know I'm right. Perfect. All right, anybody else have anything for calendars? No? Perfect. Moving on then, on to reports. So, Councillor Johnston, what you been up to?
I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony. The weather was actually pretty good. Mayor Beach did an excellent speech. That's about all for me.
Okay, wonderful. Councillor Rabble?
I unfortunately am currently ill, which is deeply tragic, but thankfully I'm in a state to attend tonight, and I do apologize for sniffling and whatnot. I had the opportunity to go to Vancouver this past weekend to attend Governing in the Public Interest, hosted by the Ministry of Finance, which was a one-day conference on essentially governing in the public interest. And there were a lot of fantastic speakers, deputy ministers and ministers. I found it very interesting. It was through my role on the Board of Governors of Northern Lights College. But I am thankful for the opportunity, and I do thank the government of British Columbia for that opportunity. So that's what I did since last meeting.
Well, that sounds really cool.
Excellent.
Yes, and thank you for being here even though you are very ill. Most of you are very ill. I thank you all for still attending. Okay, Councillor Wall?
In Vancouver with Councillor Rabble, I got to meet with a couple of ministers, create some connections, and it worked out really well. So I'll just kind of leave it there.
Okay.
More information will come later.
Councillor Whittle?
Yeah, I attended the inaugural meeting of the Peace River Regional District Board. We got sworn as the Peace River Regional District Director for Goose Coopy last week, I guess. And then spent most of today in PRD orientation meetings.
Wonderful. All right, now on to me. I've been pretty busy, yeah. I met with the fire chief and the volunteer firefighters on the 7th of December. I had a great conversation with the chief. I then also attended the Bunk Number 7 play at the Enchaga Hall, which is a Raven Collective play. It's put on by an Indigenous organization. I've also met with Director Leonard Hebert in regard to the seniors aging in place, as well as sort of touch base a little bit on our fire department agreement that's coming up, just to kind of connect and begin collaborating. And then this afternoon I was invited to the Northeastern Métis Association, and I attended their Louis Riel Day. It was very, very kind of them. They phoned and personally invited me. I went. They had a really cute group put on jigging and dancing and performances, and they had soup and bannock and coffee, and I would have loved to stay for some soup and bannock, but I had my council meeting, so I had to run away. But it's a beautiful space. They've redone the entire inside of it. It used to be a secondhand store. It looks absolutely beautiful in there. And I have 3 more meetings for the week, and then that completes my week this week anyway. So I've just been very busy. Meeting a lot of people. Oh, all right. Well, we've already done our in-camera, so I guess we're,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second question period.
question period, there's nobody here, so that's pretty simple. So we'll go with, Counselor Johnson's motion, can I get a seconder? Okay, Counselor Walbeach to it, all those in favor? Unanimous and carried.
There we go.